Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Podcast Land. I know it looks a little different out here. And I got a special guest. I'm so excited that she is here, that she is with us. But we got to do some hellos. So first, Pastor B, why don't you just say hello to the people, hello to everyone that is listening.
Hey, I am so glad to be here. And thank you for having me. It's an honor to be invited to be a part of the journey.
What's
So
the
I'm
journey
looking
genre?
forward.
I'm excited, y'all. Y'all know I don't really get too nervous because I'm really here. I'm usually here with my silly girls and we laughing, but I'm here with my pastor on tonight.
You can laugh.
And I'm gonna laugh, that's just what it is. And so just welcome everyone. Glad everyone is back. We are gonna have CC with the T. So everyone right now is out a little bit. We have, COVID is real, right? COVID is a thing. And so
Yes,
we have some people that are just out for whatever reason. They're not going to be here tonight, but Pastor B is going to be me and you. We're going to have Cece come on with the T, and then we're also going to have our sister Carolyn come on, and then we have all our wonderful guests that are out there. And as we are going on, if you have any questions, please type them. Let us know that you are here and what questions you have. All right, so Cece with the T. Cece, are you there? Can you hear us? Check in with us and tell us what's the T for this month, for February.
Hey guys, can y'all hear me?
We can.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey. So it's CC with the T. We really don't have anything except for we just want to shout out to all of February birthdays. Happy birthday if you are a February baby. And we also want to do a special shout out to our producer, Mr. Carlton Bates. His birthday is this month. So happy birthday, y'all. We love you and we celebrate you. And that's all for CC with the T.
Hey, come on now. She said our producer's birthday is birthday.
Yes.
People that work with you. So thank you, Cece, for that T. Also, your newsletter. You should have gotten your February newsletter. If you did not get it, that means you have not joined us on ourfriendshipjourney.org. You must go there. You must join. And then you will get our monthly emails. So make sure that you do that. Now is the time. Stop what you're doing. You can go to the website right now and join. And so make sure you do that. Also, for the month of February, she talked about the birthdays. Don't forget, this is like our transitional period. So March is going to start our third season. So Pastor B, I know you're kind of, about the friendship journey, but just a little what's been going on. I want to give you a little background as well as our listeners. So the first year where God kind of took us was we were trying to get to know one another. It was a friendship where we were trying to figure this thing out as a unit, as friends. And so God, we did that. We learned a lot. We grew a lot. And so now the next level where he is taking us to is where we're focusing on empowering women. So I'm talking about, we're going to be talking about marriages, finances, careers. And it's all about, we're going to be building one another up in our friendship as well as building up others. And so I'm excited to where our friendship journey is going. I really, really, truly am. God is truly good. And so let me get into this bio, y'all, because this bio is amazing. I mean, she really gave me just a little bit. I mean, this woman that I'm sitting next to is awesome. She's amazing. But her name is Brenda K. Carradine. In 1990, Brenda fulfilled her childhood dream by becoming a registered nurse. After obtaining her bachelor's degree from Texas Christian University, Harris College of Nursing, she started her practice in general nursing care. She says, I needed to learn as much as possible about patient care and a diversity of diagnostics, procedures, and illnesses. From there, she extended her career by completing her teacher certification in health sciences from the University of North Texas. In addition to her various titles and professional certificates, Brenda holds a master's in public administration from Troy University. To date, Brenda labors as a school nurse at Prairie Vista Middle School in Eagle Mountain, Saginaw ISD. As she looks towards retirement, wait a minute, she voices an appreciation for the wealth and opportunities nursing has offered. I love nursing, but my greatest accomplishments are those I've gleaned outside of my craft. That is family, faith, and fellowship. These are the columns and balance that support the foundation I'm built my life upon. In her spare time, Brenda enjoys reading, writing, watching football, and documentaries. She and her husband of 37 years, Bishop Ernest Carradine Sr., pastor of International Harvest Christian Fellowship Church in the Fort Worth, Texas. This lady here is my pastor, my very own. She didn't even go into detail. I'm telling you guys, she got an outstanding book. She rates plays that are #1 plays. I'm talking about she left off a lot, but we're going to get into it because this month it just encompasses Pastor Brenda. Why I chose her, why I wanted her to be here for this time is this month is Heart Month. Yes. This month is love. We celebrate a lot of love going on this month. And then we talk about Black History Month. Mm-hmm. You encompass everything about this. When I was sitting here trying to think about it, and I'm talking to my sister, she was like, that's it, Pastor Brenda's it. Like it was, everybody was like, yep, she's the one, because you encompass every part of this month to me. And so thank you for all you do for us, the church, and I'm sure the family. But I've said a whole lot because you just that type of woman. But I do want to get into the questions because we have just a few that I want to get into. The first one, it says, we know that heart disease is the leading cause of death in women. Can you give us some signs that we should be aware of? Talk to us about it because this is important.
I would like to do that. And, again, I am really excited about being here. I know you really could have chosen a lot of people because there's some nurses and other leaders out there that have a lot more knowledge than I do, even though I have been a nurse for just about 30 years.
Okay.
But talking about heart disease, yes, is the #1 killer in women. And African-American women in particular are more prone for reasons that we can and cannot control. And so I think it's important that we talk about the fact that when we're looking at heart disease, we're looking at the fact that it has always been known that hypertension is the leading cause of heart disease.
Okay.
And with hypertension, we call it the silent killer. Yeah. And we call it the silent killer because oftentimes there are not a lot of signs. Mm-hmm. And when there are not signs, you don't know that you have a problem. And that kind of leads us to that fact that we need to, on a regular basis, check our blood pressure, be attentive to our own bodies. It amazes me how many people are not attuned to their own bodies.
Right.
The second cause of death in women is cancer.
Yes.
And #3, interesting enough, is suicide.
Suicide is #3?
It is. And I would think that it would probably be accidents, but it's suicide. And that tells us that there is a lot of mental and emotional duress that lead women to feel like there is no other recourse but to go in that direction. But let's get back to heart disease. So when we're talking about hypertension being the silent killer, wrote some things down because there are risk factors that we cannot control.
Right.
We cannot control age.
Right.
We cannot control our heredity, our genes.
Right.
You're born to the family that you're born to. You can't change that. If hypertension is a factor in the family, then you're going to be more prone to possibly. And I always like to say possibly because it is not a guarantee. My mother died from heart disease.
Okay.
But, me, myself, I have a good blood pressure. But that doesn't mean that I don't have some of the genes that could fall upon me later on in life as age begins to take its rightful toll.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are just things that we can't control. Some of the things that we can control is obesity.
Yes.
And stress. And maybe that one sometimes. Because sometimes stress is needed in order to get to the next level.
Right.
But that unhealthy stress that causes us to kind of lose sight of our own balance.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. And then of course, when we think about diet, what we're eating and making healthier choices. And that is just something that depending on the culture, we have to learn how to enjoy the heavy stuff in strides.
Okay.
And it not being an everyday thing, but on occasion. Because one thing about it, I don't want to live without greens with fat in it. Okay, if I'm gonna get some greens, I'm gonna have to have a little
fat in it.
It's got to have a.
And that's what my sister do. My sister would do a smoke. If she do a smoked turkey, she gonna cook some bacon and put the bacon grease in there. You guys gonna put the ham hock in there.
And I'm telling you, and some of that you just got to have on occasion. It's just a part of the American way. So, but we have to learn how to take those things in stride, so that we're not overdoing them.
I think it's moderation. Moderation is the word we got to learn. But go ahead, Pastor B.
That is. And adequate sleep. Think about that, because how often do we not get enough sleep?
Yeah.
We burn it on both ends, but sleep causes all of our cells in our body to rebuild itself. And so we need sleep. We need R&R. We need rest.
We do. We definitely do.
We need rest, and we need relaxation. And sometimes getting away, especially when you're a mom. And I know many of your team members. They have families. They have children. They have jobs. Getting away just for you is hard sometimes.
It is. It can be.
Yeah. And it's literally something that has to be intentional.
Yeah, that's good.
It has to be an intentional choice to do that. Now you break in anytime you want to.
Anytime. No, you're doing really good. But we do have a guest that's on the line, and when I told her that you were going to be on, she wanted to definitely be a part of this.
Okay.
And you haven't seen her in a while. We have your sister Carolyn.
Yes,
Carolyn, are you there? Can you say hello to your pastor?
Hi, Pastor B. Hi, Brandy.
Oh, we miss you so much.
I miss y'all too. I really do. Can y'all hear me?
Out to the podcast land.
Hi, podcast land. Hi, how's everybody doing?
Hey, we're doing great on this end. Hey, any questions that you may have, Carolyn, just stop, yell, jump out. You know how we get to going. Say, hey, I got a question. Let me know where you at. I know that you're there. And if it's something you want to add to it, make sure that you just share it, girl, and get my attention, because I get to going.
Okay.
All right, sis. Join us anytime you're ready. All right, Pastor, we keep going with this heart, because this is some good information here. I want the ladies to get it.
I think so. So what can we do? We've already kind of talked about those things: diet, exercise, reducing our stress levels, and of course, just being cognizant of our own bodies when headaches become a problem. Hypertension, one of the signs for chronic hypertension is headaches.
It's headaches,
and it's prolonged headaches, not just a simple migraine here or there, but it's a prolonged headache that seems to go on and on and on. And it occurs because there is stress against the walls of the arteries. That's what hypertension is. When a lot of time with cholesterol and other things that build up in those arteries, it doesn't have the elasticity and the capability of having flexibility to move like before. So it becomes rigid and hard. And when blood tries to flow through there, all those cute little cells, they get stuck. And that's when we have blockages and other things that can kind of contribute. So heart disease is a big deal. And like I said, there's some things we can't change, but there are some things we can't change.
You said a lot. So when you share something about your mom, and that's one of about your mom, and she had this issue as well. It's different because my grandmother had the same issue. This is what she died from as well. She had a massive heart attack in the middle of the mall. And so, yes. And so with that happening, I know that my mom, once she got, because my grandmother, I think she made it to 61. So it's a blessing. Like, we're getting ready to celebrate my mom's 65th. We're going to celebrate every year because we know that my grandmother didn't make it. And so we celebrate her all the time because of that. And so my mother, she knows, she started a couple of years ago. My mother like rarely eats meat. Like, she already, like, she saves it for like the weekend, because in her mind, like, she been stopped pork, because my grandmother loves some pork chops. I'm talking about fried pork chops were her favorite. And so we ate some fried pork chops. So my mother just knew, like, since this is in our makeup,
Mhm.
I need to change. And so she does it now. And so we start looking like, okay, this is a good thing. Everybody needs to start doing it. Like I said, we need to make this a habit of what we do. And so, it just hit home when you talked about your mother, because I said, I experienced that with my grandmother. My mother's probably feeling that too, like that's how she felt. And so that diet is important. Moderation is the key, because we're not going to take that fat back out our greens. We're just not going to do it.
And we shouldn't. Some things you just got to have.
You can't mess it up. You just can't
got
mess it
to
up.
have it.
All right. I heard a little yelling over there, Carolyn. Did you have something for us, sis?
Oh no, this is good conversation. I'm really enjoying hearing all of this. This is,
Okay.
I tell you, sometimes,
You taking some notes?
ma'am.
Are you taking some notes?
Yes, I really am. I really am. That diet, the struggle is real. Let me just say,
You know what? That is.
I'm working on it.
It is for real, because it is a commitment to life.
Yes.
Not just for a weekend, not for the duration of a Daniel fast. It is a lifestyle.
It is.
And being able to recognize that we cannot cut out life. We gotta have some things that we enjoy and are special to us, but being able to have that moderation and just being intentional.
Being intentional.
Yeah.
You got to about it. And I like the self-care. That was one thing that you talked about. And that was one of the list of questions. We want to come up with some self-care tips that we can do. Why I can see stress being an issue, because as women, we focus on so much. We got to take care of the kids. We got to take care of the house. We got to work. We got to, excel at that job. And some of us are going to school. So we have so many things going on. And you said it, we have to be intentional about, hey, taking a pause. Like, let me plan this mini vacation. Let me plan to go out. And I think that's how, this friendship even started. It was like, okay, we got kids the same age, so they can play together. Then we can kind of hang out and get a little downtime. Then it's like, hey, we got husbands, so then we can come together and we can do that. Now we're going to leave all of them at home. And so now let us go and go hang out together. And so I think that's how this kind of friendship just kept going and growing, because it was like, yeah, we need a break too. It was like we need that stress release. And so that's a part of our friendship journey and what we want to do and bring to the world.
And Brenda, let me just say, as you glean from one another, it helps you to be able to be more committed to the lifestyle. One of the things that we didn't pull in there, but we're going to kind of pull it in when we're talking about that overall health, is recognizing being grounded, being around people and environments that gives you, that boost and that encouragement, because life will suck all the life out of you anyway.
Yes, it will.
So we need to have that. I was in one of our counselor's office, and she showed me this card, and it's a 5-eye, the eyeball, 4 hand, 3 ear, 2 nose, 1 heart. And I was like, what is that? What does that represent? Okay. And she said, whenever you're stressed and whenever people are angry and upset, this is what they have the kids do. Stop and focus on 5 things you can see. Just get your mind off of all the other stuff. 5 things you can see.
Okay.
4 things you can touch. Get your mind off of everything, because you're using other parts of your brain when you're focusing on something else. And it gets you out of the stress mode and out of the anger mode. Oh, wow. If a person is anxious and kind of going through that moment. 3 things that you can hear. What do you hear? Sounds. Listen, using another part of your ability to use that. 2 things that you smell. And 1 thing that you can say that you feel. And I was like, man, that's pretty good. I had never heard of that.
I have never heard of that as well.
I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And it was just a simple card that they use for the students to help them de-escalate when they're kind of in one of those modes. Because overall, we got to understand, without prayer and spiritual grounding, we would all be a little bit on the nut side. Because when things get to coming in and overwhelming us, Having the support. And that is one of the characteristics of the journey that I really, really love. I love the concept of supporting one another.
Right.
I don't care where we are in life, no matter how high we go, you don't want to go by yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't want to go by yourself, and you don't even enjoy the journey if you got to go by yourself.
If you got to go by yourself. Wow.
So it's important to have that and to be able to glean from that and using that to even help us with our everyday abilities to manage heart disease and some of those other things.
And all the other things we're dealing with. Now, you said something, I got to jump in here because you said, because I'm going to take us a little bit, but you said, like, without our faith, without having this relationship with God that we have, we would be in a corner somewhere crying, bent over and just ready to die. And I told somebody this when I was sharing, like, if you get focused on all these things around you, I'm talking about COVID, I'm talking about the government, I'm talking about what's going on at your jobs. If you get so caught up, because the political thing is just, it could be overwhelming. The pandemic can be overwhelming. Finances at times can be overwhelming. If you get so caught up in that where you have nothing or no one to let out and get that stuff out, you would probably be crazy, balled up in a corner for the rest of your life. Like, it can take you there. That's why I think a relationship with God is so important. That spiritual life is important. And we talk about this all this time. It does. It keeps us where we're supposed to be. It keeps us focused. Say, okay, I'm not going to go too far to the left or the right. Let me focus. And so it's a good thing. So you said something and I had to bring that out.
I think that was good.
Our relationship is important. So talking about relationships, we can talk about health, I'm sure, all day, because women, we want to make sure that we are healthy and do the right thing. But I want to get into the next part of the month, which is love. This is Valentine's Day. Women are out there looking for love. They thankful they have a love. And so let's talk about, you've been married to our very own Bishop for 38 years now. They want to know, how do you know he was the one when you met him? How did you know that is the one right there?
Oh, bless you, bless you, bless you. Well, as I was kind of thinking about that question, I have to be honest, I didn't. I really did not. There were just some things that I think every woman has on their checklist. I like this and I like that, and I want this and I want that. And we kind of have those things that we have in the back of our mind. But when we really stop and consider the fact that there is no perfect package, and if you get one thing, you may not get the other thing. And I had to make up in my mind during the dating phase if the flaws that I saw, if I was willing, if it was a deal breaker or not. And if I was going to live with it, I was going to have to live with it. And that's sometimes kind of hard because we don't always know that it's all that we think it's going to be.
Right.
It becomes a lot more difficult in the challenge. All your questions are coming in.
I know they are. Go ahead.
I love it. But that's the honest truth. I know that the it's politically correct to say, oh, that was the person of my heart, and I just thought it was just a dream, and I liked a lot of things, but you find out that there's some bumps in the road and some flaws in that individual, and you got to be able to say, can I live with that?
Can I live with that? And that's the thing. People say, oh, she's been married 38 years. It was love at first sight. We were, they hear the music playing. They think all they see is you and Bishop happily married, running into each other's arms. Oh, we're just perfect. And I love that you two, and everybody doesn't know this, but when they preach, because these are our pastors and our bishops. So when they preach, sometimes it's funny, because they share, you guys share stories, about. It wasn't always great. And so you guys are so transparent with the congregation and with the church members. Like we're drawn into, I'm going to say your shenanigans, but not really shenanigans. We're drawn into, but it's like we receive it and we understand it like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one. I mean, you guys really make us feel, married couples like, okay, we still on the right track, right? It's another bump. They had a bump too, because because you don't try to make it like it was perfect all those 38 years. You guys speak the truth and you speak it in love. And that's something that I really, really honestly appreciate about, the both of you, because in both of you will tell stories and it's like, and then, you laugh, but then like, okay, God, I thank you. Thank you for confirmation that me and my spouse can do it. Yeah. Me, you know what I'm saying? Like we can make it. Yeah. And so I'm thankful for the both of you sharing your love and your story with all of us.
But you know what, Brandy? I think that we do each other, and especially the church, a disservice when we're not genuine, and when we're not real. That doesn't mean that we open every chapter. And expose.
We don't want to know everything.
Because, you don't. You really don't. But you need to know just enough to know there's hope.
There's hope, yeah.
That even though someone has been together a long time, because there are people who've been together 50 years, but they've been in separate rooms for 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it don't necessarily mean that longevity is celebration.
Yeah.
And that it is a heart that is always looking forward to the time that you can be together. It doesn't always mean that, but it's learning how to work through those things and to realize that we're different. That we're different. And I had to learn that because I kind of wanted him to do what I told him to do, and he didn't do well with that task.
I can see our bishop being that way.
Yes. He didn't do well with that task. So I had to really understand that they say this, that men marry hoping you never change. Women marry hoping she can change you. Mm-hmm. And if you can't deal with what you got, you're probably not going to change them too much. And that's what we got to understand sometimes.
And that's good, because that's what we do. Women think, I'm gonna change him. I'm gonna do this. I'm glad you put that out there for all women everywhere, single and married. Cause you're not. That's not gonna happen. That's not the case. No. 9 times out of 10, that's not what happens. 9 times out of 10. Now I know you know math and probabilities.
I do. So it's a possibility, but in most cases,
it's very small.
She said
Go to play the lottery. I put my money on something else. Go to try to win $1 million. Go to try to win $1 million. So one of the more important favorites is like love languages. I know we did it with friendship, but as far as couples, there are 5 love languages, which I'm sure you're aware of. How do you love your spouse in theirs if they are not fulfilling yours? So how do you love them and they're not fulfilling your love language?
Well, I'm going to kind of go to my paper on this one because I want to make sure I say this right. In Colossians, it talks about 3:23 and 24. And in that scripture, it talks about when we do service, we do it as unto the Lord. And so many times, because women innately give, on average, more into the relationship and into the family core dynamics. The dynamics, not saying being a caregiver, because I don't want to say caregiver. I like that word for women. But we expect the men to kind of serve in that position of taking care of the home and then financing those things and all of that. But when it comes to nurturing and carrying a lot of the internal responsibilities, like making sure we have day-to-day substance and the food's done or this is done or whatever the case may be, a lot of times those kinds of responsibilities fall on us. Okay. And if we are always feeling like, hey, I'm doing, and I'm getting very little back, because men, they shift, they have to downshift when they get in. It took me a long time to realize that when he came home, he couldn't just start doing something, that he had to have a minute shift
You need to
down.
write a book about that. That took
man.
me years too. I mean, you
Oh,
wrote it
man.
a long time ago.
And I was really confused and upset because I come in and I get busy, because we got to get ready for tomorrow. We got to get the kids to go in and we got to make sure they get something to eat. And it's time for football practice. Let's get to, and he says, I got to get a nap.
Who got time for that?
Excuse me? You got to get a nap. But when I really understood and he was able to explain, if you could give me X amount of time to just de-escalate, then I can do those things that you need me to do. So it's communicating, being able to explain those things where you're not looking at it like you're not caring about my need. You're not concerned, because that's the way I internalized it for a long time. You're not concerned that I'm working hard and that I go to work so that I can help you with some of the things that you want for the family. And so I'm kind of doing some things, but I'm doing double time, because I'm like that old commercial before you was born. I could bring home the bacon fried up in the pan and never let you forget you're a man because I'm a woman. That was a commercial back in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you went.
I thought you was going to Energizer Bunny. You just keep going, but no, you was going somewhere else. Yeah, I don't know that one.
No, that's my other issues. But but this one was a commercial from back in the 70s, and I remember it as a little girl, the commercial coming on. But it's real.
It's real.
We're busy. We're doing so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's why having an outlet like this, having a journey, having other sisters that can pour into each other, it doesn't take the place of,
Right,
but it helps fulfill an area that we need, because we need community. Women need a lot more interaction
we do.
than men do. And so it helps to kind of bond
To get it
some
out.
of
Have
those.
that outlet.
Yeah, so that it doesn't all feel like work.
Yeah.
Life can't just feel like work.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it really is hard. When we're doing and we don't always see the reward. But we got to remember, I'm doing this unto him. And because I'm doing this unto him, I will reap a reward.
That was good. You dropped a lot of nuggets there. One I know that's sticking out was, just how they're programmed differently. And we got to learn that. We got to figure that out, because it will cause you, that coming home and resting, that's a real thing. Mine is coming home resting. And even when he wakes up, he needs to rest first. And it took me, come on, we gotta get up. We gotta go to church. We're going to be late. Let's go. If he don't get his rest time, whatever it is, 5-10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand that, because once I get up, I got to go. I got to get the baby dressed. You haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't get that rest time, it's going to mess up the day. And so just those small things, ladies, those small things, it helps. And it helps with marriage, and it helps with communication. Like, that was a nugget that was like, poof. If I would have heard that, I needed that like 19 and a half years ago. To just be like, ugh. Because I had to deal with that. I didn't understand that. Just get up. Let's go. So I'm excited. We do have a question that came through. And Carolyn, I think me and you can join in on this one as well. They want to know, okay, so what advice would you give spouses going through different stages of their marriage? So what I'm thinking they're saying is, like, as you grow, because Carolyn, you are 20 years plus, right? As the stages change, what advice would you give those spouses? Carolyn,
say the question again. I'm sorry.
So with you having years in the game, so many years, almost 20 plus.
Years in the game.
What advice would you give other spouses during the different stages of marriage?
I would say, as y'all were talking earlier, and Pastor Brenda was mentioning, I had to go through that too with my husband coming in from work, needing that rest time. I had to learn that. That was a hard thing to learn. But when it clicked and he would say that, I would be like, okay, that makes sense. But what word sticks out to me is grace. What I learned over the course of my being at IHCF too, and under y'all's tutelage, Pastor Brenda and Bishop, is like grace. I really learned what grace was. And I think, we went through some transitions then too with our children, as they grew a little bit and different seasons and things like that. You have to give yourself grace and give your spouse grace and enough space to learn, to change, because you go through so many different changes with yourself, your age, your children, each other. You change as a woman, you change as a man, your likes, your dislikes change. And so I think giving each other space, and even like Pastor Brenda mentioned, communication is a big thing. I used to like us going to let's say we used to like going to play basketball, but now we're getting a little bit older. We can't really play basketball. Like we used to. We can go stroll around this lake, that lake that's near the house. We can go take a stroll around. I used to like this, or I don't really care for this anymore. But how about we do this? Just trying different things and hearing the other person out. I think that allows for them to hear your heart and you to hear their heart.
I like that.
I do. I like it. You started with the word grace. That was a good one. Yeah, we gotta have grace. You talked about communication, because you do change. I think they talk about like even your taste buds change every 7 years or something like that. I don't know if it's true or not, a nurse, but you've heard that. So I think what you like to do in life changes, and that should be okay in whatever type of friendship, especially a marriage or relationship. It's some things that, I might have didn't do when me and my husband got married. I may not still do them, or I may do them now. Like, it's just a change. And I think you evolve, and that should be okay. It's as long as it doesn't go away from the dynamics of who you are. Yeah. I'm still a Christian. I still love God. Like, I ain't going that far away, but if it's some other things that I'm doing that he doesn't like, it's another word she said was communication. We need to communicate those things. So if it's something that I'm doing or not doing, or that we need to do, it needs to be communicated in a relationship, because those times change. You have kids, then they get grown, and then you got that level, and then unfortunately, we got to deal with death. So sometimes we have parents, and then sometimes they transition, and so that's another transition that you have to deal with your family. And so we constantly are moving. It's a constant shuffle, I think, in your relationship, in your marriage, and you have to have that grace. You've got to have that communication, like she said, and then of course try new things, because like she said, basketball, Oscar ain't getting out there. Them knees ain't doing that basketball no more. And so she said, now we take walks. Look, now he got a boat. They can go on the boat. Like, do some other things that we can still enjoy. Yeah. And so that was some good things. You got anything to add with that, Pastor B?
Well, I do love that Carolyn started with grace. Sometimes we have more grace for outsiders than we do for our own spouses.
Yeah.
We'll put up with things from other people, but we won't give them a lick of grace. We just ride it. And it's important that if we're able to learn how to do that, then it prevents us from feeling taken advantage of, and from having those resentful emotions that take place when we feel like we were robbed and that we did not get what we should have obtained. Right. So it's important that we learn that our spouses deserve the same level of grace that we would give a brother or sister in the church.
Yeah.
Because we'll go the extra mile with them. We may have a moment and have a rah, but in a little while we're gonna be back to it, Right. And with our spouses, we don't always have that. We get just really, really, really angry, and we got to learn how to be able to do that. Stages of life, she mentioned that. Guys, I can't tell you how valuable it is to recognize your season.
Mm.
Recognize your season. There is a stage in life when your children may be smaller. You can't be in everything going on in church.
Yeah.
You can't be in everything going on with the family. You can't be in everything. There's sometimes it's got to be here. It's got to be internal. The next stages that are coming, being able to prepare them for going off to school and all of that. Everything has a different stage.
Yes.
And if we do not understand seasons, those seasons will destroy us. So we have to be able to know our limitations so that we don't expect more than our spouses are all able to offer.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we put unrealistic expectations
Mm.
on them because we want them to do something that they just don't have it in them to do.
Ooh, wee. You sound like you writing a book over there, Pastor B. You done gave out so many nuggets tonight.
Y'all.
Yeah, I mean, you are out here giving out some good information. And so I want to reach, because we did have just one more question about the singles. Like, what about those that are not married? I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about married. I'm not really married. So what do I do? How do I find a spouse? If I want to be married, that is what I want to do. You know, and I'm single. What do I do?
You know, I wish I had the best answer for that. Because I can always give somebody a churchy answer.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give them a churchy answer.
Give them a real answer.
I want to say, when we are allowing ourselves to be on the market, just like if you're looking for a particular blouse,
Mm-hmm.
you want it to look a certain way, even if it's the color you want, if it's torn, if it smells, if it's dirty, if it looks like somebody done brought it back. You don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
You want it in the best condition possible.
Ooh, wee.
And so it is incumbent upon us to present what we want to get. We can't be a nickel looking for a dime.
Ooh, wee.
We've got to put ourselves in a position where we can be I don't want to say serviceable. I don't want to use that word because I don't want it to sound condescending.
Yeah.
But that we are literally a good candidate for the individual that we want to have in our life. And to realize that sometimes we, and I say we because I think women in general, even before they get married, sometimes, they got NBA on their mind, they got NFL on their mind, they got Rolls Royce, they got all of these visions of grandeur in their minds. And sometimes the simple average guy is your knight in shining armor.
Ooh, don't look over them, baby.
Yes, and we're having these visions of all of the spectacular stuff, and there's some women who have gotten it, and it has been the greatest nightmare of their lives. Mm-hmm. So we have to be willing to let our heart be our guide, and the Holy Spirit be our path. Let Him put us on the right path. Because sometimes if we get too emotionally engaged, we kind of lose track.
I like that.
Lose track.
When you start talking about that shirt, like you got to make yourself available. You don't want to get a shirt that you said was dirty or look like somebody had worn it. You don't want that one. And you also want what looks best on you.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like when I put on a shirt, what compliments me? I know what color looks good on me. I know the tight fit. I don't want pleats. I don't want, I don't want that. You got to know what looks best for you.
Good. Now y'all can comment on that one. That's a good one.
Look, you threw it out there and I just jumped on there because that shirt thing, that
Yes.
analogy was good. Women got to know what works best for them.
That's
And
right.
just because it looks good over there too, it may look
Mhm.
good on Casey or Lucretia.
Mhm.
That little shirt ain't gonna be that nice on me because the
Mhm.
material gonna be more. Like you gotta
Mhm.
think about it. And so women, when you thought about that, I just saw like this shirt and I saw it ain't made for everybody.
It ain't.
It ain't. So don't just go get anything or don't settle. That's one of the words that's on my vision board. Don't settle for it. Get what's for you. And then you talked about, following your heart and not what you see. Like,
Mhm.
we know what God looks at. He looks at that heart. So
Mhm.
don't get caught up in all the things that's going around. Because the NBA, all that stuff definitely looks good
Yeah,
on the outside.
and it's wonderful if it falls in your lap, and that's the way.
that's another thing.
If that's the way the lot falls, that's all right.
But don't make that like the
But
expectation.
don't make that. Yes.
Don't make that. Like,
Yes. Don't let that be the driver.
Yes.
Yes, because if that's the driver, those things change.
Those things do change.
They
Oh,
change.
Pastor G, we having such a good time.
Yes, they
I just
change.
enjoying myself, and we ain't even got to the Black History. We got to get to that
Okay,
part because
okay,
we
I'm
almost
sorry.
we got to
I'm
get out of here. And look at Carolyn. I know she's enjoying this as well. But this is the last part. We talked about the heart. We talked about health, and now we're going to talk about the Black History Month. This is another important part that you just bring to life. And so one of the questions, so we discussed our bodies, we've discussed relationships. Now it's time to talk about Black History Month, this being February. Why do you feel like Black History Month is important for this generation, for our group of people? Why is this important for us to know these things?
It has so much credence and value.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of where we are today is because we were told how we got here. Somebody gave us a narrative.
Okay.
We had stepping stones. We had guides that gave us direction. And if we have no one to guide us, we don't know what direction to go. And I see it every day. Those of us that are in education, and a lot of your journey team are educators. They've been in education.
Yes.
They've worked in education. They dealt with students and children and families that are splintered and torn. And a lot of times, especially in our community, I think it occurs because there has not been any foundation. There hasn't been anyone that has taught them that it's more than just a Game Boy, or it's more than just new phone, and it's more than just having a social media, but it's about understanding where you came from and how you got to where you are. It's about learning family and appreciating family.
Yes.
And being able to recognize that as a community, for African Americans, for Black people, we're in a family. How many of us can go to, say we go to the store, and it doesn't matter how many people there, if you walk past somebody that shares your culture, you just kind of do that head up and a nod. We recognize one another. That's what we do. That's part of our culture, and we can't allow our culture and our history to fall to the wayside. That's very important to me, and I think that's something that we've kind of gotten away from. I'd like to hear your point about that, especially since you are an educator and been in the classroom. Now you're in the disciplinary area. You've been a coach. You've just kind of done a lot of that too.
I've done a lot. And so that was my whole issue of even coming into education, is because I wanted to help and teach our students, because I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the neighborhoods, that weren't the best. And so I always had those great teachers. And so I wanted to be kind of that teacher that helped people that look like me. And so being there, it's, you want to be a part of this big picture of helping, and you want to give. But what I'm seeing now is that there's a big disconnect with the Black history for whatever reason. I don't know if they feel like it's too much, it's hurtful. I think we need to stand on the things that made us proud. You know, that's where we need to go, where it was, you know, not that saying I'm Black and I'm proud. It wasn't because, you know, white people weren't great. It was just that we're just happy of who we are. And so I think if we not change Black history, but point to more of those things. Look at what we have done. I like when they show things. I know you've done it before. I think the youth ministry, where they talked about the things that we created, you know, the perm and the brush and the peanuts and the light and all, you know, Gary Morton, all these things. That's good to hear. No, you know what? That's who we are. I want that pride and that pride to come back within the educational system, within our community. We need to be proud of who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. And so that's what I want to see more in schools and across the nation. You should have a pride about yourself. You should, you know, my father is, you know, that's the type of thing, because I'm happy. I'm proud of my color, my skin complexion. That's what I want to come back to the youth.
I think that you are on the money, Brandy. I really do. Because in my opinion, it's a lot of times when we're talking about Black history, they centralize everything in one caboose. It's like everything fits in this one caboose, and it's either something that has a negative connotation to it, or it's something that brings so many tears that we can't seem to move beyond it and move across it. But I love civil rights. I love it because it was the turning point, at least in my generation. I'll be 60 this year, and it's the turning point of everything that I've known in my lifetime. It was evolutionary. The men were proud, the women were proud. They dressed for success. They carried themselves with dignity, even in the wretched South, where they had so much opposition, that they still knew who they were. And that's what we got to tell our young men and our young women. You are somebody.
You are somebody. You come from someone who was somebody. Like you have a lineage of great things, people before. Let's focus on that. And I know it's important. Slavery is important, and it's a part of our history. But that's not the main focus of our history. And so that's what we're going to do.
Let's bring out what we are.
Let's
because we accomplished so much more. I'll never forget when I went to the movies to see Hidden Figures. I left out of there angry. And the reason I was angry is because I thought to myself, these amazing women who did we're talking about the space program. And I never knew they existed.
Never knew. Look, this is how I was. I'm a math major. Why wasn't she one of the history people? I feel you. I felt the same way. Like, why did I learn about them?
Who are these women? I mean, engineering and space. I never knew these women existed.
We gotta bring that out.
That really hurt me, because I thought, if our children knew a degree of wealth that is in the minds of Black people, they would have more pride in who they are.
And who they are, they definitely would.
They would have more pride, because we tend to think the only people that are billionaires and made things happen were other nationalities. But we've done amazing things that we didn't even get credit for.
That too. That part too.
And so I think those are important things. Let's bring back the pride. Let's tell our kids that, hey, you come from something great.
You come from something great. I love that. I love that. Look, I know we had a lot going on, and so I'm excited about tonight. It felt good just sitting here talking to you. You got to come back.
I would.
You got to come back with all the ladies, with everybody.
That's when it'll be the funnest, because
it will be. It will be.
They will have a good time, and we will have a lot of laughs.
We do have a lot of laughs for whatever reason. We find anything to laugh at. But I had a great time tonight. I hope
Thank you so
everyone.
much
Yes,
for
thank you.
inviting.
Thank you so much for just being that woman. I'm looking forward to what we're gonna see this month for Black History Month at the church. I'm telling you guys, every year she puts on a show. It could be laughter. She doesn't do drama. What do you call not you call it dramatization, but you call it something else. The thespians. They do an outstanding job. They do an outstanding job, and I know they're gonna do something great. And so I'm looking forward to our Black History moment at our church. But this has been a great talk tonight. I hope, ladies, everyone that's online, I hope you got something from tonight, be it from your health, as we talked about love, as we talked about Black History Month. I'm just excited to keep going. And if you listen to the read your newsletter, ladies, we want to get moving. One of the things that we want to do, the initiative that our friendship journey wants to do, we want you moving 3 days a week, at least for 30 minutes. My bad part. Yeah, we want to get moving. And so I didn't take a picture, but I did work out 2 times this week. I got 1 more. Praise God. I'm really going to try to do 4. But I'm trying to get a picture. I need you guys to show pictures. I need you guys working out, ladies. We need to get you moving, get moving. And so 30 minutes, 3 times a week. I need you to join us. Check our Facebook, check all of our social media. And this is it, y'all. We got to go. Normally we do a little chant and say our friendship journey on 3. And so tonight, what you got to say? I want to end with you, Pastor B. What you want to say to the people? You're going to close us out. So what you got to say?
I have said a lot. I say a lot.
Well, good night to the people. You have. So what you gonna say to the people? Good night. That's it.
Well, if we say 1, 2, 3 journey, then hey, that's cool.
Okay, journey on 3. Our friendship journey.
Our friendship journey
on 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Our friendship journey.
Woo!
I love it. Thank you again and again.